Increasing visibility is great, and it's essential to get your product seen, but it's important that you don't increase the visibility without having appropriate distribution. A lot of times I've gone to trade shows, and the trade shows are exploring, for example, we brought Georgian wine in from the country of Georgia to sell. We went to the Fancy Food Show in New York City, which is the wrong show to market that product, but the government wanted to fund it, so we went and got some great visibility. It was during a time of political unrest between Georgia and Russia, so our involvement in the exposure had a great photo opportunity to show that we were there. But what happened is a lot of customers came around. The customers were retailers. The retailers would taste the product. Everybody wanted to taste the wine. They'd taste the product and say, hey, this is great. Where do I get it? And the exporters would say, well, you have to buy a full container load. Well, very few retailers will buy a full container load of anything. Even large retailers like Costco and Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and Walmart don't typically buy full containers of product unless it's a single item like an orange or an apple that they know that they need and they can distribute to their various stores. But in most cases, they'll use a distributor who uses an importer to bring the product in. The distributor will then get the product to them as they need it. So they're getting a case or a pallet at a time as opposed to getting a full container load. So you don't want to advertise at a show. So they spent a lot of money advertising. The Georgia booth spent a lot of money advertising, but the consumers that came by weren't able to buy the product. They'd say, where can I get this product? And the exporters would have to scratch their head and say, well, you have to buy the full container load. Well, that didn't work. They couldn't buy a full container load. That didn't fit within their structure. Well, is there somebody here we can get it from? The exporters had to say no. And so you don't want to advertise in a market that you're not in. You want to spend the time, if you're not in the market, your efforts and your money and your emphasis needs to be on finding somebody as an importer or distributor or even a retailer if that's the stage you're going after, but you need to have those people in place. Now, a large company like Procter & Gamble has been known to advertise a product before it's on the market. So they'll advertise a brand new soap, for example. Consumers will go into the store and they'll be looking for the soap. And they'll go up to the store manager and say, do you have this new product from Procter & Gamble? And the store manager would say, no, we haven't decided to put it in as a SKU, as a product yet. So they would create their own demand. They would create their own demand for their product based on their advertising. That's great, but they're a big company. They can afford to do that. Most small companies can't afford to do that. So you really need to focus on who is my customer? How do I get that? And then make sure that you have distribution in the market before you find the end customer. So it's important, and it's easier to get a distributor than it is to get an end consumer, because the distributor is going to be looking at cost and he's going to look at the demand that the consumers are going to have. So you can spend your advertising dollar and your effort going after the channel that fits for you, not just the most visible channel, because that's not always the best channel.